Thanks. So yeah, just to briefly cover the regional actors as well. I mean, maybe more on a national level, we have local networks around the world, around 80 of them, because we also, we acknowledge that the implementation of practical challenges and solutions happen on the ground. So these local networks work in one way independently of the UN Global Compact, but they work to promote the Global Compact and connect with local governments, local civil society organizations, unions, and other stakeholders. And we even have a cities program specifically working on these issues of sustainability in public spaces, infrastructure, etc. Just wanted to also on the response of the review process, external review process. So the Global Compact, just to be clear, when companies sign on, we're not a membership organization, it's on participation, and what they sign on to endorse the Global Compact. We don't endorse the companies. So companies can't use the Global Compact as a labeling tool to say that we're responsible because we're Global Compact participants. We never do that. And in fact, we have a number of mechanisms in place as well to safeguard our integrity in that instance. So one is that corporate participants and in fact civil society participants now have to report. Corporate participants have to report on an annual basis. They always have done, and if they don't report on their improvement and how they're committing and how they're implementing the Global Compact, they then get delisted. And throughout the years, we've delisted thousands of companies based on that, unfortunately. But we have to do it. We also have teams and colleagues, and this is actually part of what I do as well at the Global Compact, is protecting our logo and name, so that making sure that companies and other organizations are not abusing or misrepresenting their affiliation with us. And you'd be surprised how many we come across that aren't just misrepresenting their affiliation with the Global Compact, but the UN overall. So this is not just about businesses misrepresenting their affiliation with the UN Global Compact. It's about civil society organizations saying that they're part of the UN, they're representing the UN, etc. So we have teams working on that as well. And thirdly, we have something we call the dialogue facilitation process. So this is so companies, when they report, they have to put all their material online, and it's transparent and visible for anyone to go on. And you can go on our website, everything's publicly available, to see the reports that they submit. If a company, sometimes if it's another company or a civil society organization or trade unions have a real serious concern about some egregious violations of the Global Compact principles against the company, then they will raise those concerns with us. And even though we're part of the UN, so we don't have the mandate to pass judgment, or make any sort of legal judgment on what's right or wrong, but what we do is we bring in the right, if it's not a judicial process, then we bring in other mediating tools and try and facilitate dialogue then between that company and the complainant. So I'm
going to ask you to wrap.
Okay, so just on the last one on consumers as well, we do see that actually consumers, unfortunately, are still the sleeping beauty of drivers of corporate sustainability, and fully agree that they can do so much more, even as you mentioned, just asking in the shops, so it goes up to management as well, and we want to see more of that. And we actually have some companies who are now working themselves to see how they can influence consumer behavior in terms of responsible consumer behavior, because they're not seeing it themselves. They see Rana Plaza, and then 3 months later, media and the consumers forget about it, and there's no more boycotting, and that's it. So really, we want to inform consumers and make sure that they do take responsible decisions when they purchase their products. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you to this panel. I think it was a spectacular presentation.
Interrupt. I just must say, let us not forget the girls in the labor market. That is part of the labor gender abuse, and there's been no mention on the panel of that. Thank you.
Thank you for reminding us.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you to our wonderful panel and the audience questions. We'd, at this point, just like to give you some suggestions for how we're going to move into the next segment of the day, which is lunch. So first of all, we're thrilled at the terrific turnout. In fact, we're a bit oversubscribed. Many more people have joined us than we had anticipated. We were estimating a yield, about 50% on how many people had registered, and in fact, we're thrilled that more of you are here. But for that reason, could we just ask you, when you do take lunch, if you could be a little modest in your portions, maybe just take one sandwich to start, and then we'll make sure everybody gets a bit to eat, and maybe the sandwiches will multiply, but probably not. So we're just going to try to stretch the lunch to accommodate everybody. We also thought it would be reasonable to manage the system a little bit and not simply let the market dominate. So we're going to ask the panelists on the lunchtime session, which would be